Good evening and welcome to this roundtable as part of Central Saint Martins' series of What's the Point of Art School events. This roundtable is looking at the issue of art school or business. What's the point of art school? It's quite a sort of strong statement, so I think a very good place to start. I'm interested in why we're asking this question in the first place. Is there really a crisis in arts education? And if so, what is it and what's led us to this point?
Over the past 6 years, under the new regimes around tuition and funding, it's a real challenge. And I think when students are having to make choices between working, full-time jobs sometimes, in addition to going to school just to be able to finance their way through an education, we're not allowing them to focus on that opportunity, which is learning.
What's happened is, academe becomes more detached, practice becomes more pragmatic and dull, and you get the worst of both worlds.
Is there a responsibility on industry then to help support the education system that's really feeding it and keeping it going?
As an industrial architect, we should be taking responsibility to educate people because we don't expect to get finished people, and we don't expect them to ever be finished anyway. We expect them to continue to evolve creatively and think differently and develop at different speeds in different ways as they kind of carve out their careers. I think it's all about kind of the split between learning to think and learning craft and vocation. The tension is, how do you create kind of broad creative thinking skills whilst at the same time maintaining some link to craft? And that, to me, is one of the kind of key things that art school does.
People are really concerned about the sort of short-term effect of what's going on in the economy on keeping their business going. And I think that really begs the question that there's a very important role in art schools and education generally, which is to help us to keep our focus on the long term, because education gives people, talented people, the grounding to understand a lot of different aspects of the trade that they need to learn in order to equip them to go out and be part of an economic, sustainable community.
Mran, what's your view on this sort of balance of craft and creative thinking, and how do you strike the right balance?
Yeah, I think being able to ground students in a little bit of reality about how the industry in which they want to work actually works, while giving them the room and the space to discover their creativity and explore ideas is absolutely essential. And I think sometimes art schools can veer too much towards the creativity and the ideas without actually equipping the students with the basic skills to, if I'm going to set up a business, well, what does that involve?
If you attract inspirational people, you need to have an inspirational place. And, inspiration breeds fantastic ideas. There's a huge danger to, look at the world through Google goggles and what I learnt when I went to art school is I was taught how to see, and I thought that was a really, really important thing.
There is this generational shift that's happened amongst a certain younger generation of people who I think there's an assumption sometimes of they don't know how long it takes to get somewhere.
Right.
They don't realize how hard you have to work to become successful, to create a business, to build a practice.
It also takes the tutors and the people who have been there before, who have experienced how to take a very naturally creative person and then let them know what they don't know, teach them what they don't know.
Work ethic, not entitlement.
Yeah.
You want people who will push.
On a simple technical level, I look for people who can communicate ideas, right? So they can actually draw quickly and smoothly. And I hate that we live in a world of horrendous one-to-one accuracy. Sometimes I don't mind if their ideas aren't very good, if they can communicate them, because actually we can then work with them on developing ideas and ways of communicating them. I'm looking for people who are not afraid to kind of ask a question.
It strikes me that arts education is very, very good at providing in ways that other, I did the history degree, which is very much about analysis and not necessarily developing your own theories or standpoints or opinions. Sebastian, do you agree that that's something that an arts education specifically can give?
Josiah Wedgwood, my favourite quote is him saying, fashion is far more significant than merit. Meaning, however good the product you've designed, if it's not what people want to buy now, you're stuffed. You know, designing something is like building a jigsaw of 5,000 pieces, but being given 5 million pieces to build it with, and you need confidence to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's very important that you give the students confidence and you enable them to be confident in their ideas while they're learning, because it's bloody difficult to design if you don't have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
I'm talking about at school, at a place like this, in a way, you want to produce people who are robust.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want people who fly in the Central Saint Martins final show and then collapse afterwards. I quite like the sort of sleeper who kind of comes through and 5 years later is proven to be a real talent.
Yeah.
Design universities or art schools or whatever we call them is managing change, and so I think this is something that we can share with the rest of the UK economy, because, you know, change is here to stay, as the cliche goes.